Relationships and Higher Purpose, Chapter 12, Part 3. How do you find the right person and community? If you are doing the right things in life, the right person and the right group of people will find you. If you are engaged with what you know to do and are doing it to the fullest with complete involvement, you will then be a candidate for true relationship. You will have power, you will have direction, and you will have a sense of purpose and meaning. This will make you highly attractive. Unless you are trying to keep people away from you through your behavior, your attitudes, or your misguided self-expression, then people will come to you and be drawn to you. Knowledge within you is calling for knowledge within others. The highest form of expression and the greatest experience of relationship occur when knowledge within you activates knowledge in another, and knowledge in another activates knowledge within you. This is the highest expression of relationship. That is why it is so necessary for you to become engaged with knowledge, with your purpose in life, and with your real responsibilities in the world. This establishes you as a real candidate for meaningful relationship with others. People are establishing primary relationships all the time to support their substitutes for knowledge, which are mostly their ideas about who they are and what they want. You have only to look at the results of this to see how unsuccessful it is. People's experience of relationship will not uphold their idealism. Sooner or later, they will find out that the other person is not who they want them to be. This is disappointing. Without clarity of purpose, a relationship has no foundation. Without the necessary criteria, a relationship cannot stand. Without ongoing support and motivation, even a real relationship will not continue. A relationship must be supported. Energy must be put into it. It must be cared for, nourished, and given the opportunity to express itself. If you are available to others, and if you are meaningfully engaged in your own life, you will attract the right people. That is why you do not have to go out looking for people. You do not have to go out where people congregate to try to seduce them, to be with you in order to prove yourself. You may make friends doing this, friends who are trying to do the same thing with you. However, this is not healthy or necessary to establish a real relationship. If you are not hiding out somewhere, and if you are not trying to keep people away from you by being obnoxious, then the essence of your engagement with life will be the essence that attracts others to you. You may notice that anyone who is doing something really important in life is rarely alone. People are always with them. Perhaps people are with them for the wrong reasons, but people are with them. Why? Because the person who is doing something meaningful in life provides purpose, meaning, and direction for other people. This creates a deep attraction, deeper than sexuality, deeper than physical beauty, and deeper than mental brilliance. Therefore, do not hide from other people if you want to be in a real relationship. Do not live on the mountaintop. Do not behave or dress in a manner that denies people access to you. You must find out how to constructively express yourself with others. Here you do not want to betray your values, but you do not want to betray your intention for relationship either. It is what you are doing in life. It is what you are serving in life. And it is how involved you are in your life, which will determine if you are ready for a real relationship. If you are simply waiting for someone to come along and provide excitement and purpose, meaning and direction for you, then you will have very little to offer and will always be looking for the other person to give you what you must provide for yourself. You may stimulate each other for a period of time, but eventually you will be disappointed, and you will be disappointing. If a primary relationship is not in view, then give yourself to making your life meaningful. You can always find people to help you do that. Thus, you will always have relationships. If you want to meet someone, then get involved with your life meaningfully and express this meaning to others. Be fully engaged with what you are doing. People want to receive all kinds of benefits from their relationships. They want to escape their loneliness and their personal misery. They want to have loving affairs with an attractive person. They may want a family and a household. But what do they have to give? People say, "Well, I have myself to give." But what is that? Remember, relationship is about doing things together in life. You have to give yourself meaningfully here. You do not marry potential in people, not if you are intelligent. Instead, you marry capability and motivation in people. You also marry their design. What could be more frustrating than to marry someone who has a wonderful design but no motivation? What could be more frustrating than meeting someone who has real motivation but whose design is not compatible with yours? Look at others to learn about relationship. People are demonstrating all manner of error to you right now. They are teaching you what to value and what not to value. They are teaching you what is real and what is not real, what to do and what not to do. You must look at others, and you must also look at yourself very carefully here. Is your life meaningful? Or are you just waiting for a relationship to come along and make your life meaningful? If you are, the relationship will not make your life meaningful. There must be something in you, a deeper need that you have experienced. That does not mean your life is demonstrating this need to any great degree, but it does mean that you are experiencing it. Look for purpose, meaning, and direction. Do not look for a perfect partner. The perfect partner will find you when you are doing what you really need to be doing. What is more attractive than someone who is doing something meaningful in life? If you want to do something meaningful in your life, you will be attracted to people who are doing something meaningful in their lives. You may say, "I can do something meaningful with this person." This joining of purpose is the beginning of a real relationship. Perhaps this will lead to marriage, or perhaps it will lead to an abiding friendship. But it must have great purpose to succeed. Do not think that marriage is the only avenue for great relationship. The student-teacher relationship can be very great. Friendships can be even greater than a marriage for the companionship they can provide. You need great relationships in your life, but first you must become something yourself. You must cultivate within yourself a sense of purpose, meaning, and direction. They cannot be fulfilled if you are totally alone, yet the reality must start within you. Practically speaking, you must have something to give. If you are just a nice person who has wonderful thoughts but who cannot really do anything, your contribution will be limited at the outset. A relationship will not save you. It will only reveal what you yourself have discovered. You have people around you to teach you everything you need to know about relationships. Do your own evaluation, but remember that knowledge within you will engage you with the right people. Perhaps you will be engaged with a person who does not have the ultimate pretty face or who does not meet your personal set of criteria. Knowledge will engage you. You may discern real purpose, meaning, and direction in your life, but you do not yet know where you are going and why you are going there. Real relationship will show this to you over time. Certainly, areas of incompatibility are essential to recognize at the outset when establishing a primary relationship. Here you must see what people have done and whether what they have done conforms to their nature or is simply a learned behavior. If change in their life is needed, are they committed to change, or are they only entertaining the idea of change? Are their values compatible with yours? These are questions to ask yourself. Do not think that a person will change significantly as a result of being with you. Do not make the serious error of thinking that you are going to improve or change another person's habits, thinking, or behavior. That is a very grave error and establishes a destructive dependency that hurts both the other person and you and limits your progress. What a person has done before is what he or she will likely do in the future, though with proper orientation and a commitment to change, many things can be improved. However, the way that a person does things will likely continue, although hopefully it will be for a better purpose. Therefore, be attentive to signs of incompatibility at the outset, particularly in the areas of health, money, and spiritual growth. These are very critical areas where your attention is needed. Within yourself, it is necessary to begin to discover knowledge. If your experience of knowledge is not well established, you will need to take special care in evaluating other people's thinking, behavior, and difficulties. As knowledge becomes more real and more accessible to you as a student of knowledge, you will be able to feel what you know more deeply. The experience of inner guidance will vary from person to person, and you will need to find your own way of gaining access to what you know. Here you must be careful to look and see if what you are feeling or thinking holds to be true in your experience. Sometimes your inner inclinations may be misapprehended or misunderstood by you. In either case, it is helpful to seek the counsel or support of a person whose inclinations and experience you can trust. This is always important for wise decision-making, particularly in the area of relationships. Here, even the most mature person must recognize the possibility of error that still faces him or her. No matter how much you have learned or how advanced you think you are, never assume that you are beyond error in discerning the nature or direction of a relationship. Decision-making in relationships always requires wise counsel and support. There are many dangerous areas. If you recognize those areas in your life through your past experience where you were prone to make mistakes, you will realize that the potential for making the same mistakes continues to exist. Old patterns of behavior can be very difficult to break. Old attractions and addictions will remain with you, although to a lessening degree over time. You must be cautious. You are not being negative here out of fear. Instead, you are being cautious and aware because you do not want to make the same mistakes again. Be very careful if you notice yourself wanting to talk yourself out of legitimate objections concerning your engagement in relationship with a particular person. If you find yourself wanting to overlook or deny these objections, it is time to step back and wait. This is very important. If you have a great deal of fear or anxiety about being with a person, you must pay attention to this. Do not think that you are simply being negative or fearful, but instead look at the content of your fear as objectively as you can. See if your fear is justified. You may be apprehending something that is genuinely there, or you may simply be afraid of intimacy or afraid of loss. Yet you must look to find out. If your concerns or apprehensions continue, Seek the counsel of a person whose knowledge and experience you can trust, someone who is impartial regarding your particular decision. A close friend, a relative, or even a person with professional capabilities may help you in this regard. It is far easier to meet initial disappointment than to learn the hard way that your initial decision was in error. Always be willing to face disappointment. Always meet adversity as soon as possible if it is facing you. In this way you will save yourself great pain and suffering. This will assure that your advancement will be rapid and complete. Listen to your own inclinations regarding your attraction to another person. Why are you attracted to this person? Ask yourself this: why am I attracted to this person? And objectively listen to the reasons that your mind provides. Then ask yourself, can I live with this person day in and day out, given the real adversities of life? Can I really live with this person? If you are not certain, do not commit yourself to that situation. Wait and see. It is all right to wait and see. Beyond a certain point, it will be time to either give yourself or to withdraw. But at the outset, you have the luxury and indeed the responsibility to wait and see. If you are clear-minded and if you are willing to face the truth, you will have an opportunity to learn quickly whether or not this person to whom you are attracted is a true candidate for marriage. Because relationships that involve sexuality are the most difficult relationships in which to practice discernment, it is necessary to pay special attention to this particular kind of relationship. It is much easier to be objective in a friendship, for here you can simply participate and wait and see if your friendship deepens. However, when sexuality is involved, there is a great deal of personal investment, and how things turn out can be very consequential. This is true because of the power and importance of your sexuality, and because of the meaning and emphasis, value and identity that you place upon relationships of this kind. Do not underestimate the power of a primary relationship. It can either make or break you. Therefore, it is advised that you be wisely cautious, not fearful, but wisely cautious. In this way, the likelihood of your making a serious mistake will be greatly lessened, and you will be in a far better position to see what you need to do. In preparing for a relationship, you must learn what to value, what is important to you, and what is essential for you to learn. This must be based upon what you need as an individual and what you require in your life. This is very important. If you are a person, for example, who needs a great deal of security and stability in your life, obviously, if you marry a person who does not have this emphasis, your relationship will be strained and very difficult. It may be exciting at the outset because the other person will be challenging you continually by his or her behavior and ideas, but your ability to stay with a person who has this emphasis will be very limited. This is just one example. Perhaps you are not concerned with stability and security, so if you marry someone who has this concern, you might feel that they limit you or that you constantly have to attenuate your interests and your actions to meet their needs for security. In this situation, both of you will lose. Though in the long run you may have the opportunity to learn something of value about yourself here, the time and energy it takes for you to learn this may be far more wasteful than it need be. That is why it is not recommended that you use relationships for personal growth. You can learn the same lessons far more easily with far less cost. Do not use intimate relationships for personal growth. Do not justify your errors by saying, "Well, I learned from this." Errors are errors. Errors are a misappropriation of your life force and a waste of your time in the world. A certain amount of error is necessary to teach you what to value and how to discern what is valuable. However, beyond that, error becomes wasteful and destructive. What should you be aware of when considering marriage? There are many things to be aware of when considering marriage. Patience is necessary. Openness is necessary. The willingness to lose the relationship is necessary. If you are willing to do these things, then you are in a position to make a wise decision. If you do not become sexually engaged prematurely, the opportunity for you to be in this position is far greater. If someone is destined and ready to be your mate, they will not go anywhere unless you seriously discourage them. Waiting is fine. It is healthy. This gives you the time to learn about the other person and to learn about your desire for that person. Here again, people around you will teach you through demonstration all that you need to learn as long as you have established certain guidelines to follow within yourself. Remember, you are an important person. You have a purpose in life, whether it has been discovered or not. You do not want this purpose wasted or destroyed by misappropriating yourself in serious relationship engagements. Particularly if you are older. This is critical because the time you have for family and for true productivity in the world may be limited now. You have to choose more carefully. You cannot afford years of personal experimentation. Success now becomes ever more necessary for you, and therefore your reliance upon knowledge and the importance of compatibility in your primary relationships gain increasing value. For young people, the lessons and guidelines that are being given here are quite important. Following these guidelines will give you the clarity to discern who to be with and how to be with them. A clarity that so few people have gained thus far. How simple are the lessons of discernment, and yet how difficult they seem to be for those who are committed to having what they want. It is difficult to be objective when you experience intense love for someone, but it is possible. It is possible because knowledge is with you. Knowledge is not swayed by your intense loves and your intense hatreds. It is not swayed by your emotional states. Your emotional states can only make it more difficult for you to experience the presence and the direction of knowledge. That is not to say emotions are bad. Of course not. However, anything that dominates your mind that is not knowledge can lead you astray and have a destructive impact upon you. If you pay attention at the outset, people will tell you what you need to know about them. They will reveal their strengths and their weaknesses, either willingly or unwittingly. If you take the time to learn about their past experience in relationships, you will understand how they genuinely function, despite whatever aspirations they may have. You want to make a good decision in a relationship. It is better to be alone than to make the wrong selection. Remember the difference between recognition and relationship. You may experience recognition with another, but that does not mean that you will be able to have a successful relationship with that person. Make sure that the relationship can support the recognition. Make sure that both you and the other person are capable of being in a committed relationship together with what you have now, not with what you could be in the future. The person that you think you should be or could be is not the person that you are today. You must be ready for a relationship, and especially for marriage. The other person must be ready. If the other person seems to be the perfect person, but they are not ready, then they are not the perfect person, at least not now. If they are married to someone else, they are probably not the perfect person. You cannot make someone else ready. You cannot insist that they be ready or require that they be in the position that you think that you are in. Often people demand that the other person be ready when they themselves are not. It is easy to chase someone who is running away from you. It is more difficult to accept someone who is coming towards you. Many things must be discerned, and this may seem complex. You may ask yourself, how can I possibly keep track of all these things? How can I possibly make a wise decision when I have so many things to be aware of? The answer is simple, because knowledge is with you. Knowledge will indicate what you need to do, but you still need to look and listen and learn. This is what allows knowledge to guide you. Knowledge wants to make you aware. It wants to make you wise. And it wants to make you a person of ability. Therefore, do not passively wait for knowledge to tell you what to do. Participate in life, and knowledge will show you how to do things. This is because knowledge is here to elevate you and to increase your possibility for success in the world. To follow knowledge, you must adhere to what you deeply experience, and you must value your experience beyond your preferences or the preferences of others. Sometimes other people will either encourage you or discourage you from becoming involved in a relationship. Always pay attention to what they are saying to see if there is any truth in their words. If you can do this objectively, you will learn a great deal about truth and error. But you must trust your own experience. This does not mean simply giving yourself over to your passions. Instead, it means learning to trust what you know over what you want. Be patient, and you will learn. Be impatient, and you will pay. Either way, you will learn, but the price of learning will be far greater if you are impatient. You will always pay something for your learning, but what you pay must be part of the benefit you receive from the lesson itself. Otherwise, the possibility that you have truly learned the lesson will diminish. If too much pain is associated with learning, then you will associate with the pain and not with the learning. Here it is better to minimize the pain and maximize your learning. You are meant to have meaningful relationships and true marriage in your life. With relationships of this quality, you will be in a position to give to the world. How can you use knowledge to make a wise decision? People experience knowledge in various ways, yet knowledge will always be associated with something you know. The experience of knowledge is very abiding. It does not change from day to day. It will not be here today and gone tomorrow. This is because knowledge rarely changes. You often change in response to knowledge or in apprehension of it, but knowledge itself rarely changes. Knowledge is very still. Yet if you are restless and moving around a great deal, you will not be able to perceive the presence of knowledge. This is why people do not experience God, because God is very still, and people are very restless. When you are restless, you only see other things that are restless because your senses were made to perceive the movement of things, not the essence of things. Your eyes see things that are moving. Your ears hear things that are changing in pitch. Your nose senses things that are changing in smell. You can touch that which is stationary. However, because your mind is still attracted to that which is moving, you will less likely be aware of that which is still than aware of that which is moving. God is still. As you become still, you will experience God. As you become still, you will experience your own knowledge, which is God's gift to you. Therefore, learn to be still so that you may know. If you are in a passionate relationship and your emotions are running at a fever pitch, you cannot be still. This is the time to withdraw, not to deny your feelings, but to place yourself in a position to observe them. When knowledge brings you into a relationship, it does so without a fever pitch. It is more a calm feeling of being at home than a feeling of uncontrolled excitement. This is not to discourage excitement, but if it dominates your mind to such an extent that you cannot see and hear, then it is not excitement but fearful anticipation. Here, learning requires guidance, caution, and supportive relationships. No one is in a position to make wise decisions all the time. No one is free from temptation completely. No one is above error in the world. In essence, you cannot use knowledge, but you can allow knowledge to serve you. You cannot use knowledge as a tool to try to get more out of life for yourself, or even to try to give to life more of what you want to give. You do not own knowledge. It is far more powerful than you are. It is God's gift to you. In fact, it is God in your life in the world. If you learn to be receptive and if you become objective about your experience, you will be able to discern the presence and the guidance of knowledge increasingly. Eventually, this will make it far more difficult for you to make a mistake. As knowledge is being honored, followed, and recognized, it will become more apparent in your life and will exert a greater and greater influence in your awareness. Then you will realize that you are truly safe and that the source of your safety is now emerging. Knowledge will always protect you. It will always set you in the direction of your advancement. It will always take you away from divisive engagements and will place you in contact with those who have the possibility of truly serving you. Sometimes knowledge will put you in the proximity of someone whom you find very attractive, but with whom you cannot have a meaningful relationship, simply to teach you to become objective and to learn to look and to listen so that you may know. Do not think that you must fall into feverish love. True love is always calm because it is always based on recognition and compatibility. And true love will grow because true participation in relationship is the vehicle for its expression. When you are with your true mate, you will feel an inner confirmation. However, when you are inappropriately engaged with another, you will feel inner resistance. Knowledge either says yes, no, or nothing at all. If you feel resistance to a relationship, you must explore this. Perhaps it is the right person, but certain things need to be established, or certain changes need to be made before you can be together. If the resistance persists in spite of these changes, then you can be certain you are improperly engaged. And despite the prospect of loss and sadness, it is better for you to step away in order to support yourself and the other person's well-being. Here you must be more committed to your spiritual development than to your immediate gratification in relationship. This requires courage, and it also requires a certain degree of true understanding. You must realize that if you are not successful in a relationship, you will pay a great price. You may still derive benefit from your investment, but the investment may be too great. Grave failure and disappointment in relationships will leave scars, which will affect your ability to participate in the future. Eventually, they can prevent your ability to successfully be in relationship with others. A few scars will not disable you, but many scars will deny you your fulfillment in relationship. To heal these wounds from the past, You must follow knowledge, for knowledge can repair all things. It is the great source of healing within yourself. If you have had many disappointments in your relationships, the requirement for you to be objective, to be discerning, to practice inner stillness, and to be cautious will be greater. You will need to move more carefully than before. In fact, you will be naturally inclined to do this. Knowledge will join you where you can be joined. Knowledge will take you away from where you cannot be joined. This may conform to your beliefs or it may not. This may conform to your principles or it may not. Knowledge is beyond beliefs and principles, being of God. Knowledge requires your support and active participation. You cannot follow knowledge unwillingly and hope to learn from it. You must recognize knowledge as a source of healing and accomplishment for you, not as a source of domination in any respect. If you resist knowledge, knowledge will withdraw, and you will be left with your own distrust to haunt you. If knowledge sees that it cannot support you, it will withdraw. At a certain point in your learning process, you will not want knowledge to withdraw because you will realize it is the source of purpose, meaning, and direction for you. There are many things in the world that masquerade as knowledge because there are many substitutes for knowledge. There are many addictions and a great deal of speculation, justification, and denial surrounding these addictions. There is a great deal of talk about relationships, but very little substance. There is a great deal of positive speculation. Yet there is also a great deal of mistrust and doubt. People hope for wonderful things, yet they are afraid of terrible things. People long for success, yet they are fearful of another failure. You will hear a great deal spoken about relationships, and there are many helpful ideas in the world that can aid your decision-making and discernment. However, this can be very confusing. Your knowledge will provide the basis for simplicity here. Simplicity will provide clarity, clear decisions, and clear choices. If your choices are not clear, then you have more to learn and to discern. If your choice is clear, make it and follow what you know. If you are not yet at a point of decision, you must see what you need to do to reach that point. Wise decision brings resolution, and resolution brings harmony and progress. Remaining too long in irresolution without moving forward will merely be destructive and wasteful. Learning to follow knowledge is something you can do. Undertaking a specific and prolonged course of study to develop yourself spiritually, mentally, and physically is very important. Having a supportive environment of people and the right teacher will certainly shorten your learning time considerably and give you the environment in which you can learn to discern that which is meaningful. Because you can only discover yourself through relationships, your relationships here are quite valuable. Value your relationship experience and knowledge will reveal itself to you ever more rapidly. For it is in relationship that knowledge provides this greater service and is most needed.